Chapter 1. Is it possible to manifest as you read? What does it mean to manifest a perfect life? Can you manifest a life of your dreams where everything you ask for comes to pass in your physical reality? Is it possible to ask for things and be given those things that you ask for with no strings attached? Recent events have thrown the world into so much turmoil and uncertainty that people are afraid to ask for too much. For far too long, we have asked just enough to get by for fear that we are judged as greedy or unrealistic. We have become accustomed to lives filled with uncertainties, problems, and stress. We have come to see family, relationship, money, and health problems as a natural part of living and growing. Some spiritual teachers even teach that life is suffering, and that suffering is part of the human condition. There is a deep belief that we need to suffer to be alive. But what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to live up to our human potential? This book will show you that it is indeed possible to manifest a remarkable life by living up to your full human potential. You will experience a life that is free of problems, uncertainties, and stress. Even if a problem does find its way into your life, you will have the tools to resolve the issue very quickly. Any issue that you have will turn into a non-issue, such that fewer and fewer problems bother you over time. In time to come, you will find yourself being light and free, the way you are meant to function in this world. We are going to achieve this not by denying or pretending that our problems do not exist. Neither are we going to engage in positive thinking or motivation to quote-unquote attract what we desire into our experience. I have long discovered that using positive emotions to keep us going or to compensate for our negative feelings only takes us further from our natural state of inner peace. Accentuating the positive to cover up the negative never works, because the negative still remains. It just remains covered up like putting the icing on a spoiled cake. Many people try to cover things up with a self-created positive spin on things. Very few people realize the true principles of manifestation. That is why people frequently complain that positive thinking or any of that law of attraction stuff does not work. It is because the vast majority of people trying these techniques are attempting to think positively. They are trying to use a barrage of positive thoughts to overpower or flood out the negative. This is not how manifestations work. These techniques not only do not work, they also require immense willpower and generate other negative feelings in the process that need to be effectively dealt with. I have long taught through my books that the ability to manifest is our birthright. It is something we are already born with, just like our ability to eat, drink, or breathe. There is no need to struggle to do something we are already designed to do. There is also no need to justify why we should have the right to create. We just have to reconnect to the process that we have forgotten after years of social conditioning. Every child is a natural creator. It is only after a child starts interacting with adults that he or she starts forming a worldview based on the conditioned fears and beliefs of society. Instead of connecting with their innate abilities to create and bringing those abilities into adulthood, children gradually lose the ability to create and have fun in life. Playtime is replaced by problems and situations with real-world consequences. Fortunately, There is a quick and easy way to return to our natural state. This easy way involves taking a light touch, and it eschews the use of any force or willpower. It also involves giving up our preconceived beliefs and ideas about the manifestation process that have been imposed by our mind. In my early days of studying this material, I used to think that the human mind is the most amazing tool that we are blessed with. I used to believe that the mind held all the keys to our manifestations, and all we needed to do was to tap into the power of the mind. You may have read self-help books that refer to our mind's power as unlimited. These books suggest that as long as you can tap into your mind's power, whatever you want will manifest in your life. The law of attraction, or at least the way it is being taught in the popular press, is somewhat based on this basis. It teaches that if you visualize and affirm your desires strongly enough, that what you want will materialize in your life. This is true to a certain extent, but creating through intense willpower or mental energy does have its drawbacks. Some readers have commented that I am downplaying the mind's role in manifestations. Still, I am here to state that the mind is entirely unnecessary in the manifestation process. In fact, the mind always sabotages and interferes with the creation process. If the mind is completely out of the way of the manifestation process, then whatever you want will come to you easily, effortlessly, and automatically. Again, I did not come to this conclusion lightly. There was a time when I thought the mind was an important tool in our manifestations. As my realization of these teachings deepened, I realized that there is absolutely no merit to keeping the mind around in the creation process. Trying to justify why you need the mind to create or why the mind is useful to your creations will only keep someone trapped for a longer time. So once again, I ask that you try this completely new way of manifesting. One that is not dependent on your limited mind, and see how it works for you. If you want, you can always return to the old way. Why is this an essential foundation for this book? My intention for this book is to gently ease you into the mindless manifestation process and allow you to manifest as you read. This means no struggles, no repetitions, and no need for sustained mental energy to constantly ask for what you want. Where does all of the struggle, the need to repeat your requests, or the need to focus on your intentions even come from? They all come from the thinking mind. It is the mind that tells you that you need to consistently repeat and focus on your requests to keep yourself on track. It is once again the mind that tells you that you need to stay positive or be motivated. So in a way, many people depend on the mind to keep them positive or to prevent themselves from falling into the negative. Now you see why the mind is so problematic in the creation process. It always keeps you on edge and teetering from one end of the pendulum to the other. You are either fed with negative thoughts or positive thoughts. When you have a positive thought, there is always a perceived need to sustain or hold on to them. When you have negative thoughts, however, there is always a need to remove, eliminate, or turn them into positive ones. When you involve the mind in the creation process, there is never a moment when you are truly still. You are always trying to compensate or shift something with your mental energy, and that is counterproductive. When you take your mind completely out of the manifestation process, then what is left for you as an individual person to do? The simple answer is that there is absolutely nothing left for you to do. There is no physical action you need to take or thoughts you need to think. This is where we reach the limitations of the mind, because the mind cannot visualize the concept of nothing or nothingness. It starts to either shut down or protest. Shutting down means that some people start getting very sleepy when they move into the territory where the mind is not involved. Others could find their minds fighting back and giving them countless reasons why they need to get back into the conscious creation process. Once again, just simply notice what is happening by being that silent observer in the background. Your mind is trying to get back into the game and trying to ask you to compensate for the lack of perceived action with mental thoughts, which will hopefully lead to physical action. All of this is getting back into the endless realm of the mind, which you want to stay as far away from as possible. This is the reason why I recommend that you pick a somewhat inconsequential intention to work with as you read this book for the first time. You can always come back and repeat the process as often as possible with another intention. But for a start, pick something that is not of great perceived importance in your life. Of course, the perception of importance is once again imposed by your mind. Your mind will make you think and believe that making a certain amount of money is more important than manifesting a piece of furniture in your living room. So you can really see how the mind works in very insidious ways in the manifestation process. Once again, your mind could be coming up with various objections about its usefulness, but experience and also intuition has demonstrated that involving your mind slows things down as much as 1,000 times. This means you block any flow of goodness into your life to the point where there could be no creation or movement at all. Why would you do this to yourself? In the beginning, it could be useful to give the mind something to occupy itself with. This is a technique that I have used to great effectiveness in the early days. It also explains part of the method I am using in this book. By letting your mind focus on the physical words on this page, we reduce its interference in the manifestation process. As part of your mind is processing and understanding these physical words, it does not feed you with negative or sabotaging thoughts that are to the contrary. This frees up the greater part of yourself, which I call the not mind, to work its magic. Not mind is the greater, unlimited part of you that really encompasses everything. When you create from the not mind, the manifestation process becomes instantaneous and easy. As I have written in my book, Instantly Directed Manifestations, you want to create from a state of not mind all of the time and spend as little time as possible in the realm of your mind. Does it matter if you read this book and do not remember the exact words shortly after reading? Absolutely not. It is the mind that thinks it has to read and understand. You can read this book, remember nothing, and still find the concepts have been internalized and downloaded into your life. In fact, the mere act of connecting with this book will connect you with millions of like-minded readers around the world who are manifesting together with the power of not mind. This raises the collective consciousness and clears things up for all of us. When you clear up the issues in your own life, you are also clearing up these issues in the collective consciousness. Thus, your personal mastery of this material benefits everyone else who is in touch with this material. Similarly, other readers connecting to this material will allow you to achieve faster results with these techniques. These teachings do not depend on belief or faith. The need to rely on belief or faith comes from the mind. In fact, it is often the mind that needs convincing before it will accept something. Let us go beyond teachings that advocate slowness and teach that you need to believe in something before it will show up in your life. Instead, ask yourself this question: who is there to believe? Who is the person or entity that needs to believe? Who is doing the believing? You will find that no one needs to be convinced. That is merely a mental projection that can be easily eliminated from the process. All of this may sound somewhat strange at this moment, especially at the beginning of this book. But stay with me as we go on the journey, and I will show you, not by convincing or by persuasion, but by directly demonstrating the effect of instant manifestation protocols in your life. Let's start here.